Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be solving Leetcode 179, largest number. Problem description tells us that we're given a list of non-negative integers in an array called nums, and we want to arrange these integers such that they form the largest number and return it. And since the result may be very large, we need to return that result as a string instead of an integer. So here's an example. We have 10 and 2, and we return 2, 10. So, we're not adding 2 and 10 together, we're just arranging the strings such that they form the largest integer possible. So, we could either do 2, 10, or we could do, 10, 2. Which number is bigger? Well, 210 is greater than 102, so that's the output. In this example over here, we can see the same, this is the biggest number that we can form from this result over here, or from this input over here. So, we kind of know that it looks fairly simple, and it is fairly simple actually. We basically just want to sort this list somehow, right? And we want to do this in a greedy way. And the kind of simple greedy way is doing, is A greater than B. It's just sorting in descending order. So it's from the biggest down to the smallest number. But that wouldn't work here. For example, we have, let's start from the right hand side. We say, is 9 greater than 5? Well, yeah, sure. So we put 9 there. We say 5, is 5 greater than 34? No, it's not. Then we would end up putting 34 and then 5. We look here though, we can see that we put 9, 5, and then 34. And why is that? Well, we want to look at the way we would be normally solving. So if we're solving is A greater than B in our kind of comparison function, well, then we would obviously sort from largest number first. But, what we want to do instead is say, is A plus B greater than B plus A? And basically what we're saying is, let's take, 5 and 34. So we're going to say, is 5, 3, 4 greater than 3, 3, 4, 5. Which one is greater? Well, then we can see that 5, 3, 4 is obviously greater, and so this is basically going to be the formula for our comparison function. We're going to create a comparison function that compares values like this, as opposed to the traditional, is A greater than B? It's going to be, is A plus B greater than B plus A, and pick the permutation which makes the most sense. This is a greedy problem. We only change we only select at most once, and then we get the biggest number that we can, and then we form a string. So that's basically the output, and that's basically the way we can solve this problem. We're basically sorting using a custom condition. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is we're told that since the number may be very large, we don't want to return an integer, but we do want to return a string. So what we can say is, let's convert each number into a string, each integer to a string. So we're going to say, for I and n in enumerate nums, we'll say nums I is equal to the string of n. So now all the list of integers is a list of strings. And then we can say nums is going to be sorted. So we want to sort nums, and we want to pass in nums and then pass in a key function. This key function is going to be our comparison function. In Python, the way we want to do this is pass in comparison to key. This is something you probably have to look up, or I would imagine an interviewer would give you in an interview. Basically converts a comparison function to a key function. That would work with the sorted method. So we would pass in a function, and we're going to call it compare, and then we can just create our compare function. So it takes in 2 elements. We'll say number 1 and number 2, and we're going to say if number 1 plus number 2 is greater than number 2 plus number 1, we return -1, otherwise we return 1. So that's the comparison function, and we're passing that into our sorted method. And once we've done that, we can use just an empty delimiter and join the numbers. But there is an edge case here, guys. Although we're converting we're converting this integer into a string, and we're returning a single string. There is a case where we get a list like 0, 0, 0, right? then we would end up with an output of 0, 0, 0, and that's not a valid integer. So instead, what we want to do is convert this into an integer. So join with a delimiter, convert to an integer, and then convert back into a string once we've converted it to an integer. It's a bit of a long process, but it means that we best the edge case where we have just a bunch of zeros. It's an edge case which definitely can catch you out. And now we can see that we passed all 236 test cases with this problem, and we have a very optimal solution as well. So yeah, that's basically the solution for this problem. It's sorting, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's very simple to kind of come up with in terms of intuition. You basically just need to realize that you're sorting somehow. This is a greedy sorting problem, but you want to figure out, how do I sort? And really it's kind of breaking the problem out, maybe writing it down or something, and looking at what 9 plus 5 or 5 plus 9, especially with strings. We want to look at how they concatenate and which number looks bigger, and then derive a solution from that. So that's the solution, guys. I hope it made sense. And in terms of time complexity, we're sorting the list, aren't we? So it's going to be big O of n log n. In terms of space complexity, we are creating a new list. So we'll put that at big O of n. So that's the time and space complexity. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.